Hey everybody, it's me Nick here. Before we head on over to our next video in our Black Ops glitching series, which is Berlin Wall, we're going to take a quick stop because I've been getting asked a lot of questions regarding care package breaching, so I'm going to be showing you a care package breaching tutorial. We've always gotten a lot of fame from our tutorials. Everyone always loves them. We're always able to put out really good tutorials, which is another reason why this video is 18 minutes long and I'm going to be exhausted by the time I'm done because I'm going to be talking the entire time. So for two things I want you guys to have on for settings, two mandatory things that you're going to need. First off, I'm going to go on my breaching class. Health. Put this on to 1000%, and damage, make sure this is on reduced. If you have it even on normal, 1000% health will not save you from getting hit by a care package. You must have 1000% health on, as well as having reduced damage. This combination allows you being able to take a hit from a care package, which we technically don't need this, but it will make things a lot easier and more than likely this is why you guys are giving up so quickly, because you guys don't have the right setup class. Ballistic knives do help for breaching. I don't know what it is about them, but they have been proven to be better in our opinion. We have had many breaching. We've probably done the most breaches out of any other clan, I gotta tell you that, just because we found the glitch. So we got our class set up down to like just dead on the nail. Like it's perfect right now, the way our setup is. And if you guys want to check out our setup, go check the video. But we're going to start on firing range. It's got to be the easiest map to breach out of by far. I don't know what it is about firing range, but it's just different types of walls that you breach through. Some of them are just easy. So I'm going to start by getting my boosting class on. This class has like maximum damage. And we have scout pro on, so when we switch our tactical insertion fast, I'm just going to clear that up. That isn't really necessary for the actual breach, but I'm just saying this is how we boost quickly. You'll see how fast we get boosting going on because we have this class set up perfectly. Notice how like how we actually do it. We'll shoot, then we plan our attack. So then when they spawn, I'm already have my attack down. This just makes boosting go faster. For those people who keep saying boosting, I don't want to sit there boosting. We can get like 20 kills in like not even like 5 minutes, and basically we're good enough to get outside the map probably about 50 times on firing range. Firing range, I only did this video for about 40 minutes, and I got all this stuff done. So I just want to explain that the first Treyarch patch was. The first patch that they made was so that when you're breaching in a corner, when a care package falls on you, the care package is going to actually destroy attacks. Originally, they didn't actually destroy tactical insertions at the beginning, which was kind of shocking, especially with all the other games like Modern Warfare 2 where you couldn't even plant your attack near a care package, which is what they needed in order to patch this. So this is the first patch. It doesn't really affect us all that much because technically we don't want our attack to be completely covered. But it does add to the problems, but it doesn't happen too often. There's ways around that, which we'll get to in a second. Second patch was when a tactical insertion is inside of a care package, you cannot spawn inside of it anymore. Like if a care package is covering your attack, you will not be able to spawn in it. There is a bit of a trick to it. There is a way around this, but I just wanted to show you guys how the patch works first, and then I'll explain how to get around it towards the end of the video. But right now, I can tell you right now by looking at this care package, I can't see my tactical insertion from above. If you can see it from above, you can spawn in it. People don't understand that. You can still spawn in care packages, but if it is covered, like this one here, like that's why I just shook my head no, because I knew this right off the bat was not going to work. As well as to see, I spawn, it does not work. So I'll give you another example of that, just to make sure you guys clarify what I'm talking about. So I'm going to be planting my tactical insertion in the corner. This is the old method of doing it. You plant your tactical in the corner, you start throwing your attacks down, you don't stand in the corner because you thought that the care package was going to kill you. But now that we have that 1000% health on and reduced damage, that won't happen. But however, if someone is throwing a care package for you with a class that has maximum damage, it will affect you because they have a class that has strong damage where yours has reduced damage. So don't let a friend throw care packages for you unless they have the same class on that has 1000% health on reduced damage. But here's another example. It didn't actually break the tactical insertion even though it landed on it because it kind of tumbled over. It's only when it directly falls on it from its first bounce. After that, it does not destroy the tactical insertion. So that's why the first patch didn't really do that much, because it was kind of hit and miss half the time because it has to really directly hit it. But now I'm going to show you an example where you can spawn in. Right now I have room to move, so this doesn't really count as a breach. I still have room to move. That's the first thing you always want to check. And later on in the video, I will get into more detail how to do a care package. I just want to show you guys to understand it. Helping understand it helps you being able to understand how the glitch actually works. So the first glitch, the first patch you see didn't really have any hindering on our glitching at all, because this is before we actually thought of the 1000% health and reduced damage when the first patch came out, because we knew it didn't really affect us that much because the glitch still worked. But as you see right there, I looked up top, I couldn't stand in the corner, so that means I definitely would breach if I was inside of it, because I would be inside the care package. And because I saw the tactical insertion from above, technically it doesn't register as it being covered because the care package isn't quite over. So now we'll try just to see. As you can see, we are now in the corner. We can begin breaching. I'll show you another example of doing this breach once again. So here we go. I'm getting it on top. I can tell that there's like, I can't stand back there so I can breach, but there is this big gap here, which kind of leads me to thinking that I might get shot out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell my friend here to go over in that gap just to be sure. Once you start glitching care packages for a while, you kind of predict how their behavior is going to be. In this, I could tell you that I was going to get shot out to the side. Sometimes you might get shot on top, so you might have to get someone to stand on top of you. But here's an example I want you guys to see. When you are shaking in a care package, when you are violently shaking, I'll show you. I'll kind of stop here. Now I'm not shaking, of course. I'll show you a better example in a bit. But when you're shaking, what you want to do is you want someone to jump on your head. Don't just try different angles. Try to get someone to jump on your head. Because if you're like shaking violently, you want someone to jump on your head that will actually stabilize you. It helps a lot, otherwise you will not be able to breach by just knifing someone that's standing still. See what I mean? I was right about that being shot out part. Sometimes it's hit and miss. Sometimes as soon as you move away from that corner, they'll get shot out. But that time, you just need someone there when you originally spawn. And after that, it might, sometimes if someone moves right away, I might get shot out instantly. But in this case, it's actually letting me stand for some parts. It's only when I go on certain angles that it shoots me back out. Usually you breach in the direction that's behind you, that you're knifing. But as you see, when I'm shaking, if your screen's like shaking, like you barely see, you're seeing like triple vision of everything, that's when you want someone to jump on your head to kind of stabilize your character so he's not shaking anymore, and then you can begin to knife and breach. You have to keep repetitively jumping, and you kind of have to have the timing down, so eventually it will breach you. But still try different angles of knifing someone. An angle, you might knife someone to the right of you, you might angle someone to the left of you. One of those might work, one of them might never work. So it's all depending on what actually works. So here's another example. This wasn't a terrible example of spawning inside a care package, because I didn't even think this was going to freaking work. Like, I didn't even know how this, but I was like, technically it is, I can't stand in there, so the tactical insertion technically is breaching. And I'll just have someone stand there and let's see what happens. But the problem is though, is the automatic assumption I get is I might not be able to actually have my friend move, so I might be stuck with only one option to actually knife him, because if he moves, I might get shot out. But you can, once you play it in your tac, try to ask him to move and see what happens, because you might actually be okay. Which I'm probably going to get him to move here in a second, because I know it's not going to work right now. So I'm going to try to get him to move, see if it doesn't shoot me out, which I'm lucky. Usually it will, and look, I tried a different angle, and look, it actually worked. So as you can also knife repetitively pretty quickly, especially if you have the ballistic knife on it, have the settings kind of customized, and as long as you have the health on, it's okay. But if you're still if you don't like spawning in care packages, I'll show you a way around it that we kind of adapted to the change. I'll show you the change that we did to adapt to the patch, and then I'll show you what you can do. Well, what we usually do when we go to breach. But for example, I just want to show you guys what happens. Right now, I have a class on with maximum damage, and he has a class on with 1000% health and reduced damage. However, since my maximum damage is what's going to inflict him, because it's my care package, it will kill him no matter what. So you have to make sure you have the same class on. So right now, I'm going to switch over to my class that I breach with, which has 1000% health on and reduced damage. Now, in this case, when we both have the same class, I'm going to inflict him with reduced damage, not maximum damage, and it just barely works enough. Like, these settings are just barely enough. Like, if you have 750 health on and reduced damage, it still won't work. It has to be exact 1000 and reduced damage. It barely even works for this glitch. But see, now he can withstand a hit multiple times. However, sometimes care packages will shift when you're in a corner. They'll keep shifting. Eventually, it'll feel like you're on fire. Just keep getting hit. Occasionally, that will happen and you will get killed. It doesn't happen too rarely. But here is an example I want to show you. So now you don't even have to plant your attack. If you really don't want to, don't even bother planting it. You can just go like this and just begin to breach, because now I took a hit from a care package. You saw that small hit marker? Barely even affected me, my health whatsoever. And look at that. I was already able to breach out. However, when you get hit with the care package originally breaching, and when you spawn back in it, well, you'll be in a different position. It's not always the same position, so you might not even get it when you get hit by a care package, but if you plant your attack down and then spawn back in it, you'll be in an entire different position and you're more than likely to actually breach. But here is an example of getting hit with a care package again. This is what we usually do. We usually plant our tack down so that in case we get shot out of the corner when the care package falls, so we can still have the option of maybe spawning back in for a second chance, because that care package might be enough to do it. So once again, I'm violently shaking, as you'll see, just very so slightly on some occasions, like right there. See that shakiness? I'm getting my friend to jump on me. You'll notice it'll sometimes stabilize. Watch, I'm still shaking. Getting him to jump on me, and look at that, it worked. It's just sometimes jumping might just do it, or it might be jumping and knifing. You just have to try different things. 3 things you have to change if you're shaking. Well, if you're shaking, you're going to have to jump on someone and knife. But if not, you're just going to have to adjust your angle as well as just kind of maybe jumping on their head. Never crouch unless you're going into an area where you're going to need to be in a crawl space. Like radiation, when you're going underneath the stairs, you can only crouch in that area, so you're going to have to crouch. Now, here's an example. I want to show you why we plant our tack at the same time. Well, actually, that'll be the next example. But right now, I just kind of want to show you from the other perspective. See? Right there, I kind of saw that happening, but I just wanted to see if it would happen. So now that I saw that he breached out that way, it's kind of a weak spot. So I'm going to try to stand over here to try to stop him from coming this way. Just try different angles, and even though he might get shot at this way, this doesn't mean that this is going to be the way to breach. You might still have to go on the other side, and hopefully that he doesn't get shot out. But still, he still got shot out there, so my next guess is I would have to be lower because I'm actually above him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down here and see what happens, see if he shoots out this time, and see if he actually breaches out. Another thing you want to be careful of is don't pull back on your analog stick like crazy, because once you breach, you don't want to go flying outside the map and fall under the map, because right here on firing range, you can fall under really easily. The fake ground turns fake really quickly. But as you see, sometimes you have to block your friend in, or you just have to try different angles. It all depends on trial and error of care package. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds till a care package disappears, so you got plenty of time to try different methods. Now here's why we still put the jug class on. I'm just calling it jug class because it's 1000% health on. That way we can get hit by care package, but we still plant our tack down because of one reason. You'll see right here, there's still a chance of getting it screwed up, because look at that. He got hit by the care package, but he is no longer in the corner because it knocked him outside. So this kind of serves as a problem, and it might actually work, so that would kind of suck if you actually got shot at and you didn't have your tack down. In this case, his tack is still seeable. Not quite, but it is somewhat seeable. This one was kind of 50-50. I wasn't sure if he's going to spawn in or not, but it's still okay. And look at that, he's going in it, and look at that, it actually worked. If he didn't plant his tack down, that could have been a difference of him making outside the map then, and maybe way later on. So planting your tack down is still very helpful, I'm just trying to say. Now, to get one last person out is always one of my other top questions I always get asked, and there's 2 options. One, you could solo breach, which happens maybe 1 in every 50 breaches, so it's very unlikely, but it does happen. So I am going to show you, I actually managed to get a solo breach. I was not expecting to get one on this video, but it worked out perfect for a tutorial. Otherwise, I was going to use past footage, but look at that. It pushed me, and look at that. I actually got out by myself. Technically, you could do it on combat training or random online by yourself. Technically, you could, but it would be very unlikely and very hard to do because you have a limited amount of time and all that. But I just want to show you, you can solo breach. It is very hard to do. It can be a lot. It's just a luck of the care package at that point. There's nothing you can do to make it happen. It's just luck of the care package. But the main way you would be doing it is you knife someone outside the map. You don't need to be knifing someone inside the map. It works just as much. So right now, I actually almost pushed me all the way out. I almost solo breached right there itself. But I kind of walked back in like an idiot. But so I kind of breached out this way, and I'm kind of out of the corner now. So I'm going to try to kill myself. It would help if you still had someone inside the map to stand there or block the spot. Or you could technically throw another care package on top of the care package that you are now to try to block that spot by throwing another care package in that gap. But instead, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get my friend to adjust the spot so maybe it won't shoot me out, but still did on that direction. So it's going to be trial and error trying to get the right spot right now because I don't have anyone inside the map to block me, and I don't want to throw a care package down right now because I'm trying to show you that different angles do help a lot. It's just you have to kind of lunge at them, and it will eventually work if you get the right care package. Sometimes some care packages just won't work at all for you. It all depends. But as you've seen here, it does work. And sometimes tactical insertions are really messed up when it comes to canceling them out with care packages. Sometimes it'll look like it's like, oh, there's no way in hell I'm spawning in that because my tactical insertion is so close to it. But sometimes it actually does happen. So no matter what, always try to spawn it unless you're absolutely 100% sure, which I'm never 100% sure because I've seen some care packages where my tactical insertion is almost completely covered and it doesn't cancel. And then there's other ones that just like, it's like, how did that not, it was able to spawn in? Like I have some that where like the tactical insertion is like completely visible, but it still doesn't work. But I just want to show you some tips here that I kind of do. Sometimes, like right now, I'm breaching in Nuketown, but it's not working, and I can kind of tell where this is going right off the bat. Once you have enough experience care package, you kind of determine how things are going to work out. So right now, I'm trying to think of how I'm going to breach, because I have a good breach going on here, but it's not working for actual knifing out. So what you can do is you can try, if you have a stack, try to grab a care package that's on the bottom or something, and look at that. It actually ended up benefiting me. By taking that care package, the one on top was able to breach me better than the one that was on the bottom. So there is ways of doing that to actually manipulate the care packages to be actually having an advantage. Right here is another example. On Summit, I was ground breaching underneath. Couldn't get it for like about a minute straight. I knew one of these care packages were going to disappear soon. Especially on ground breaches, you need to use a lot of care packages. So I got my friend down there to take a care package. Look, he takes it. Boom, knocked me right under. So you can kind of use care packages to your advantage. But I do want to show you something that usually is the best type of care package, which are slanted care packages. But I just want to mention again, for the most part, tactical insertions will usually be spawning in usually happens from being the most visible and not visible. That's usually how it is, but sometimes they can be really unpredictable. It's like, how did I not spawn in that? And the other times it's like that I should have spawned in that. It's just like, it just doesn't make sense. But here's another example I want you guys to see. Note where I'm actually throwing the care packages right now. I'm throwing them beside the stack because I want you guys to see something. Look right above me right now. Right now, I have this huge roof, like the shelter thing that's hanging over the roof. Which I can't throw care packages in the corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a stack. So then I throw care packages beside the stack so that they barely hit the stack, but they won't actually build the stack so that they come in. If I wanted to actually build the stack higher, I would go lay on top and throw them on like that. But instead, I want to bounce off that and come in here. But once again, as you see, it's a slanted care package, which works beautifully. And this was a really messed up breach. It was really bad. I barely got into this room. I was all over the place on this breach. You're going to see in a second, if you guys didn't already watch my grid video. But as you've seen, it all depends on some of the luck of the care package. But care package glitching is quite easy. It just takes a bit of practice. But firing range, you can get out within like the first 5 minutes of being on that map in a private match. It is quite simple to get out. It is actually very fun to do. So I recommend you guys do it with a bunch of friends. It does glitching, I sometimes have to admit, it does take more teamwork than actually playing online sometimes. You have to have a really determined, patient group of people who actually dedicated to glitching. Once you have that, that's how I started on YouTube. I basically just asked around who wanted to glitch with me, and I started up from there, and then I got 10,000 subscribers on my channel from that. So anything can be built upon from just something small. Just wanted to show you guys, just wanted to mention that so you guys do understand that you guys can find someone to glitch with and actually make something happen. But anyways, hope you guys like this video. If you guys have any questions, please message me and I'll get back to you. Please subscribe.